This should be a very good match, though. As we're getting into Solaris for the next best of 5. This is the winner bracket finals. We've been waiting to do this one for a long time. Happy to finally be able to cast this one. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner, it is none other than MaxPax, the infamous Danish boy, the best Protoss in the world. And he is up against a hard-working Terran player. Been in the game a long time. One of the best foreigners to ever play StarCraft 2. It is SpeCial. I live for your hatred, Skidoo. I live for it. Give it to me. Let the hate flow through you. Oh my god, and also, I think I won my fantasy week. Is that possible? I can't believe it. I feel like I should have lost that. Somehow. I won. Beautiful things. Beautiful things happening in football. Meanwhile, SpeCial gonna go for the eBay block. MaxPax just gonna take his third. Now there is some danger to this, of course. We've seen plenty of Hellion builds trying to run those bad boys in. More recently, the Cyclone builds to take advantage of this have been pretty brutal. Right when the change first came out, actually, with the new patch, Clem, I remember, did like a Cyclone build after forcing MaxPax to take a third and just bopped him immediately. Since then, the Protosses have learned how to hold that a bit better, learned how to deal with the Cyclone openers. But still a lot of potential here. SpeCial could get some damage done, and it looks like he is going to go for a reactor on that factory. No surprise there. That is the common follow-up to forcing the Protoss to take their third. I know it's funny. A lot of video game people don't really watch like traditional sports, but I feel like the people who are most into esports actually do very commonly watch traditional sports. Which makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I find the same enjoyment watching traditional sports that I do watching esports. But it's just funny to me. There's still like a whole group of people who play this game all the time that are like, sports ball. And I always find the dichotomy of that very funny. SpeCial is floating a barracks, indicating to all of us that he is not going to be going for bio. Going to be going for some mech action as the first couple of Cyclones pop out here and head across the map. CC is on the high ground, so any early game adepts or anything like that can't get too much done. MaxPax usually does like to poke and prod with those first couple of units. SpeCial playing it safe, that CC up on the high ground, but I think MaxPax knew that this was likely going to be the build here. Decided to stay back at home. This Reaper has gotten 3 probe kills and is going to go for a 4th one now. Sees these units. SpeCial dives in, but then pulls back. He's just going to land the barracks. This is kind of cheeky. I mean, I kind of love it. Another probe kill. That Reaper had 4 probe kills. Kind of insane. Couple SCVs going down on the other side of the map. We'll look at that in a second, but in the meantime, the Cyclones are starting to push in. There's that Adept being annoying. Exactly what I was talking about. It gets 3 SCV kills before going down. But the Cyclones are really here, putting this pressure onto MaxPax. The shield battery is out of juice. There is an overcharge available, though. That could buy time for the second shield battery to get up, for some more units to get out. MaxPax, though, he's got to turn it on soon. There it is. SpeCial going to back up. The second shield battery finishes up. Barracks just getting hit here. MaxPax wants to try to force that to leave. But more Cyclones are showing up. One Cyclone does go down. Is there enough damage here from SpeCial to overpower this shield battery energy? And the shield batteries are now out of juice. The overcharge is done, and the 4 Cyclones are still here. The Oracle coming back down to see if it can help out at all. As another Marine is about to pop. And that Marine might not do a lot, but it's going to do a little. And I think that it's going to be enough to push through the rest of these Stalkers. MaxPax has no army. And SpeCial can just keep rallying across. He's getting that speed upgrade for them as well. Hurricane Thrusters, 2 more Stalkers warp in as probes start to go down. I don't know where more SCVs died, but the Cyclones are continuing to come across. This pylon's getting a little bit low here, but more importantly than that, 18 probes have gone down, and there is the GG as SpeCial busts out one of his builds to take down MaxPax in game number 1. That is very based. That is very based. I feel like I haven't seen too many Cyclone builds successfully taking down the Protoss, but MaxPax still falling there. Still struggling a little bit with some of them. And if anybody was going to come up with a good Cyclone build, it would be SpeCial, for sure. Christian Spirit score, that was a 3-1 for Spirit, Pashka. Spirit ended up being the better, the stronger Polish player today. I'm glad there's sports talk in the chat now. Keep it up, guys. Keep up that football talk. You love to see it. All right, game number 2 coming up here. PVT is unplayable. My friend, I would recommend watching some of the Koreans then, because the Korean Terrans are really struggling against Protoss right now. You know, sometimes you just gotta play like hero. But speaking of PVT, let's get into game number 2. Here we're going to Oceanborn. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner. It is MaxPax. His opponent in the lower right, none other than SpeCial. SpeCial taking a strong game 1 there. See if he can keep up the juice. Might be tough. MaxPax, he's got some builds up his sleeves as well. Interested to see if SpeCial's got some more good TVP builds. He's a very smart player, SpeCial. He's a thinking man's Terran. He comes up with really specific builds. Things we'll see him do one time and then never again. You know, of course, good friends with TY, who one of the smartest Terrans to ever play this game. Gave us some fantastic matches back in the day. I miss TY. But I think overall, MaxPax has looked extremely dominant in Europe. Certainly one of the best Protosses in the world. Arguably the best Protoss in the world. I think I would argue that. He's just looked so insanely strong. But he's definitely not unbeatable, as we saw in game 1, and we'll see what happens here in game 2. MaxPax gonna recall his probe. He wants it out of there. He wants it safe. Is he safe? Is he secret? He is. Don't worry, MaxPax. Your probe is alive. Now the Reaper can come across and see what's going on in MaxPax's base. What is going on? Well, it's going to be a Stargate. I don't think the Reaper is going to be able to see that Stargate just yet, although SpeCial's still microing it around. Saw him get some good damage with this Reaper last game. MaxPax does play against Clem all the time, so I'm sure he's very familiar with somebody being annoying with a Reaper. Clem tends to be very good at that Reaper control. Pretty chill opening. SpeCial opening a bit more standard this game, not going straight into the double Cyclone production. Instead going for a 1-1-1. It looks like it's going to be a Widowmine drop. Doesn't get too much more standard than that in TVP. Now, Phoenix is going to be great at defending against harassment openers like this. I love to talk about how the Phoenix is kind of hard counter these kinds of openers if they're in the right position. Obviously, a pretty big if. But the Marines coming with this can make this very annoying for the Phoenixes to deal with, and MaxPax is going to need some ground units in position as well. Going to be able to take down that Hellion, eliminating some of the threat before this drop gets here. Don't think he knows exactly what's coming his way. He's got the shield battery on the low ground. Liberator coming up behind this, so SpeCial is trying to go for a very annoying and aggressive opener here. Putting that pressure on immediately. I think the Phoenixes have realized that there's a lot of stuff here. Sees the medevac and a lot of Marines underneath it. So MaxPax knows he's got to get ready for the defense. Double Cyclone production and a Viking coming out now. SpeCial, you really know it's serious if there's no add-on on the starport, and this is a third unit coming out of it. This is so dicey. MaxPax playing with a very low unit count down here. Ooh, Phoenix has got to be careful. The 4 Phoenixes are really crucial in this fight. Being able to pick up a good portion of this army. Very scary for SpeCial. Gonna be able to kill that Liberator before it really does anything. MaxPax doing a great job defending without even really taking that much of a fight. But as I say that, runs over all of these units. The Cyclones, lifting up the Cyclones doesn't really work as well anymore because they just lock back on immediately. And now SpeCial has a lot more power. These 2 Phoenixes not going to be all that helpful back at home. He's going to go for the drop immediately. MaxPax is taking a 3rd base, but he's got to be careful. There's 8 Marines headed towards his main and the 3 Cyclones on the low ground to contend with. 2nd Immortal on the way out. Okay, more Phoenixes have showed up. It looks like this drop's not going to be too long for this world. The shield battery here helping out to clear it out as well. SpeCial going to try to hit the front. There's no shield battery at the 3rd base. So these Cyclones are kind of dangerous, but the 2 Immortals going to be very good at pushing them away as well. 8 Marines in the main base doing their best. It looks like that'll be just about that. For the drop, SpeCial has to pull back the rest of his units, but he delayed that 3rd by a long time. The 3rd bases for both players is pretty even here. The biggest problem for SpeCial is he put a lot of time and energy into early game harassment. So his unit count is quite low. It's also not great. 4 Cyclones, really good early game. As the game gets later, though, as the units get better, Cyclones just don't scale all that well in this kind of an army that SpeCial's going for. So they're not going to be nearly as useful in the next few minutes as they are in the early game. And the Phoenix is going to take advantage of kind of a lower unit count here. The lack of stim. Actually, stim is done, so SpeCial could go for a big stim. Try to push these away. But now MaxPax hitting the front with some Stalkers as well. These are not Blink Stalkers, just regular old Stalkers. But there's just not a lot of units here to deal with this. Command Center taking a lot of damage. There's that stim from SpeCial. The Colossus showing up, though. MaxPax bringing the whole army across. Now lifting up these Cyclones, forcing the target fire on the Phoenixes. But that means this Colossus is just chewing through that ground army. And SpeCial's 3rd base is in a lot of trouble right now. 8 SCVs going down already, and it's just getting worse. There is the GG as MaxPax ties this game up. SpeCial putting a lot of early game pressure, but MaxPax able to deflect it without really taking much damage at all. Really nice play there from MaxPax. Very careful play. Didn't take any of that for granted. And then all that early game pressure from SpeCial resulted in not like a great army to fall back on, while MaxPax was able to get straight into that Colossus. That Colossus was so key in that push. The Marine stims, I got really concerned for the Immortals. Big Daddy Colossus showed up and was like, don't worry, bro. Got you. All right, we're heading to game 3. It's going to be on Golden Aura. We hop in here. We're all tied up 1-1. And spawning in the upper left-hand corner is none other than Sidestorm Gaming's MaxPax. His opponent, the lower right-hand corner, is SpeCial. Guys, don't forget to check out the match arena for this event. This is a 24-hour marathon of OSC action that has been going on already for like 20 hours or something. We're covering some of the OSC Mid Season Playoffs matches, and then we have some show matches after this to get into. But this is a fundraising event for the OSC World Championships coming up in the next month or so. Be looking forward to that. Those are always a lot of fun. Shout out to Dave Test in the chat, who was covering some OSC action earlier. I think the King of the Hill. We also had Just Jordan, who raided in at the start. That was covering the Rising Star matches. And I believe it was Light VIP casting at the start of this. One person I'm missing. Kozan. Really, Kozan. Covering some matches as well. A lot of good StarCraft today, thanks to OSC. It's a me. Oh my god, Mario's in chat. Especially going for a Reaper expand this game, but building it on the high ground. The probe is going to spot that. But SpeCial just trying to keep it safe. MaxPax, again, known for those early game pressures. Of course, the original MaxPax build was very punishing for Reaper expands with the CC on the low ground. But just in general, MaxPax likes to put that pressure on early. Delay bases, get SCV kills, early unit kills, if he can. So SpeCial preparing for that by building the CC on the high ground. MaxPax going for a Twilight Council opening this game, so I imagine we'll see some Blink Stalkers. He does like his Blink Stalkers. His 3-gate Blink is a very powerful build. It could be a struggle for a lot of Terran players to deal with. So if he goes for that, SpeCial's going to have to be very much on the defense. Man, Probe's chasing the Reaper. Again, SpeCial's Reaper being very annoying here to MaxPax. It's going to get out of there, too, not even taking one Adept shot. Hot dang. Meanwhile, the Adept trying to be annoying over here sees the Hellion and the Marines that are coming out. As it looks like SpeCial's got another pressure build planned. He's going to take his natural, but he's got a Cyclone on the way. Building the Tech Lab onto the Starport makes me wonder if he's going to head towards Banshees. But this is going to be a very technical army from SpeCial. Not a lot of... You know, he's not heading straight to, like, Stim. He's not going to have a really powerful bio army or anything. Lose that Reaper. The Hellion will get out of there. And that's going to be tough to deal with as this Blink is halfway done. There's 2 more gates on the way, and the Robo, MaxPax, is going for a 3-gate Blink. So now SpeCial, who I do think scouted at least most of that, and the Hellion's going to get in and confirm the 2 gates, and I think he even saw that Robo. SpeCial needs to get very prepared for this, and right now he is very not prepared for this. He is getting a siege tank out, but I feel like we need to see bunkers going down at the front, maybe one in the main base. He is going for Cloak Banshee, but, I mean, the Robo's done. That Cloak Banshee doesn't help kill Stalkers, generally speaking. I mean, maybe if there's no Observer, the Cloak Banshee can help out in the defense. Finally, SpeCial putting down a bunker. MaxPax's going to start pushing across. The nice thing about 3-gate blink here for MaxPax rather than 4 is it does make it a little bit easier to macro behind it. To maybe take a third base, which it looks like he is planning on doing as he pushes out. But he can still put a lot of pressure on, get a lot of stalkers out. SpeCial, he just has nothing in the main base. That does worry me a little bit. The second tank is about halfway done. The stalkers are here, though. I feel like MaxPax is dawdling a little bit, and that is going to give time for Cloak to finish up. The Observer is back at home, though. The Stalker is going to be able to kill this Banshee. 5 probes go down, but now the Stalkers could try to dive in. This is bought time, though. The second tank is out, and I talked about, hey, this Banshee can't do any damage to the Stalkers, but turns out it can if the Observer is all the way on the other side of the map. These 2 Banshees really helping SpeCial out. And this is why he wanted to open Banshee. It's giving him time now. He's going to have a third tank popping out soon. He's got the bunker on the low ground with the tank. He's going to push this away immediately. Now, MaxPax did put that third down, so that is nearly done. But this Blink Stalker opening got no damage done. SpeCial with an excellent defense. Just barely getting those units out in time, but I'm sure he knows the timings, knew that he needed to delay a little bit with the Banshees. Did an excellent job. Good positioning on the Marines as well, so if the Stalkers blink into the base, it can be very dangerous for them. So MaxPax's going to pick up in the Prism. He's going to try to get some damage done. This tank down here doing a really good job zoning the SCVs away. Force a cancel on the missile turret, or just kill it. Prism gets out of there. MaxPax just trying to find some damage wherever he can. SpeCial does not have a third CC. As he gets these extra barracks up, he's going to have a lot of power, a lot of pushing power for SpeCial. With 3 siege tanks, a lot of bio. Widow Mine's coming out now. Medevacs could be on the way next. MaxPax needs to be prepared for that back at home. He is getting a Dark Shrine, which I think is a cute little move. SpeCial had the potential to build a Raven earlier, but instead built another Banshee. He's going to try to get some damage done now. I might be able to get into the main and see that Dark Shrine. He is going to spot the Dark Shrine.
Is under attack.
That's an important scout. DT, first DT gets scanned, second DT hearing something swipe. I actually don't see it. SpeCial waiting for a scan. He doesn't have one quite yet. This DT just getting a bunch of free damage done. 6 kills. 11 probes did go down on the other side of the map. The tank going to get lifted up so it stays alive. DT just getting what damage it can before it gets scanned and killed. A couple SCVs, a handful of Marines. And it keeps SpeCial back, right? It keeps SpeCial focused back at home. Now, those Banshees did a lot of damage on MaxPax's side of the map. He has reprobed, though, still up at 62. Trying to head towards the Robo Bay. But I'm a little worried for MaxPax. SpeCial has a very powerful push. He still has a strong army, despite some of these Marines going down to DT, and now the Stalkers here picking a few off. MaxPax is going to try to delay as long as possible with this War Prism. Flies into the main, drops the DT, just gets killed immediately thanks to this missile turret, and just gets out of there with the Zealots. Stalker still zoning out front. Very important job of the Stalkers to try to pick off units as the Terran moves across the map. SpeCial, though, with no third command center, is pulling a bunch of the SCVs with this. He's going all in. The double drop that is already across the map, going to be able to pick off a couple of units here. Stalker, a Zealot already. Just needs to be careful not to lose too much of this because he's joining up with the rest of his forces. A couple force fields go down, trying to pick off some units. The SCV is really far ahead of the rest of this army, which is not really where they want to be, and that's going to be a lot of dead SCVs before this fight really starts. But MaxPax's army still feels so small, and some of it's on the other side of the map trying to get damage done. I think SpeCial will be able to clear this up, but the real story is back at home. Does MaxPax have enough? He's going to turn on the Super Shield Battery, but oh, the Widow Mines are such a danger. Colossus pops out and immediately loses most of its hit points. SpeCial's push looking very strong here. Most of the SCVs have died. 14 of them going down. The SpeCial's economy is not going to be in a great spot, but he is up almost 20 army supply right now. MaxPax's going to try to hit in a few different locations, trimming off some of these Widow Mines. Oh, losing the Stalkers on the low ground, though, is painful. Any units here for MaxPax are so important. He just needs to get that army supply up and try to take some positive trades. The Widow Mines getting triggered here is actually so nice for MaxPax. He's going to be able to clear out a couple of them. Not quite. Special pulls it back. The tanks move forward, though. MaxPax doesn't want to engage, but Special is trying to force him to. Some Zealots on the backside. Going to be able to kill that Siege tank, but that was all of the Zealots going down for the one tank. Special maintains his 20 army supply lead. Now, some of that might be in production back at home, but a lot of it is right here fighting on the front lines. Medevac's getting low on juice, so every stim is going to be a bit more painful here for Special. He's going to lift up 2 Medevacs full of units and head towards the main base and try to get on top of the production, but that might leave the rest of the army a little bit more exposed. MaxPax's just going to split and try to deal with the attack in the main and hold the push at the front at the same time, but a lot of probes starting to go down. That super shield battery got targeted and killed. MaxPax needs to clear out these Medevacs. Oh, he gets it. The full Medevac gets gunned down. See, 10 SCVs went down, but this might have been at the front. A lot of Zealots picking off some of these reinforcements. That is really, really nice. Special forced to pull back to deal with these Zealots. He killed 11 probes, but that is nothing compared to the fact that Special's down to 28 workers. And MaxPax holds, does what seems like the impossible, and just delays Special. Special not able to get in there and get the real damage done. And now he pulls back, and for once in this game, MaxPax is ahead in army supply, and his economy is so strong that I don't know how Special's ever going to come back in this game. He needs to take one gloriously beautiful fight and hope that it's enough. That might be a tough thing here. The Stalkers are going to see the move out. Going to see that Special definitely doesn't have anything to fall back on. It's just another push. MaxPax's going to try to hold the top of the ramp. He has a few Zealots heading for a counterattack around the corner of the map. Thermal Lance being done really helps these Colossi chip away at the front units. It's only one siege tank, so it's not that scary in terms of the splash damage. I don't think there's a lot of Widow Mines in here either. I don't think there's any Widow Mines in here, actually. Oh, no, there's 3. There's 3, I lied. A few. SCVs, though, going down. A Special has pulled a bunch more with this. He was all in before, but now he's all inner as a bunch of Zealots actually hitting this base. Starting to work on even more SCVs back at home. Special's got nothing to fall back on. It is just going to be about the next fight, and with a third Colossus out, I don't see any way for him to take a win here. Special agrees and will tap out. MaxPax goes up 2-1 in the series. This is from a replay, yes. It'll be a very, very late game for MaxPax. 6 a.m. in Denmark, yeah. I mean, listen, he's a gamer. He might be able to do it. Wikipedia says December 11th. That's because, so these games are cast from replays, but nobody's seen them before. The scores have not been reported anywhere. So this is live for all of us. Yeah. So the mid-season playoffs is all cast from replays from beginning to end, because if you look at the bracket, there's like a bajillion games. The whole lower bracket is best of 5. So if you just think about how many games it is, this tournament would take like 20 hours to play. It would take forever. So the trade-off here is we're casting them all from replays, but we get way more games. The series are, much longer. There's much more going on at any given point. And so we get more StarCraft out of it without forcing a bunch of players to sit around for 100 years. MaxPax versus Special, we've known that that's going to be the winners bracket finals for like 2 months while we've been casting from the lower bracket. So it's a trade-off. It allows us to have a bigger bracket with a lower bracket, more chances, more games of StarCraft. with the only downside being we're casting them from replays. But honestly, the only time that's particularly relevant was the patch hit right kind of near the beginning of this event. So there was like a period of time where the patch had hit, but we were casting replays from right before the patch. And I remember there was one day where I was casting the replays from before the patch, and then all of a sudden, the replays were from after the patch. And I was like, aha, we've done it. I refuse to believe you're getting pictured this good with a C920. Here's the thing. The cat cam is the C920. The actual camera I'm using is a Sony A6000. I think it's the A6000. That is this camera. I also have a Logitech Stream Cam somewhere, but not using that at the moment. A6000 or A6400. Pashka, I may look wealthy, but I cannot afford an A6400. That is quite a bit more expensive. This is an A6000. I appreciate, though, that you think that I can afford an A6400. All right. What game was that? What's the score, guys? I got distracted. Was that game 3? It was, right? That was game 3. And now MaxPax is up 2-1. So we're going into game 4. Okay. Sometimes the brain struggles. You didn't know there's an A6000? Yeah, so there's the A5000. You know, it just goes up. Sony's pretty straightforward with some of their naming conventions, and that they'll just like add numbers to things. Some of them not so much, but yeah, so there was like the A6000, 6100, 6200, 6300, 6400, and then like the A7 III or something like that. I don't remember what it is anymore. It's only plus 400. What's that? Half a mothership? Yeah, dude. No problem. All right, let's get into game 4. Yeah, the thing about cameras is that, like, the next one up on the list, it is better, but cameras hold value really well. So, like, getting an older camera doesn't necessarily mean you're getting like some significantly worse thing. And because the cameras work well for a long time, like some electronics, they have very limited lifespans. Cameras, though, they have, generally speaking, very long lifespans. So getting like a used camera that's 5 or 6 years old, totally fine. So I'm more than happy to get. This is a used camera that I've used quite a bit now. I also take lots of hiking pictures. Whenever I go hiking, I take this camera, and I've taken quite a few pictures that I'm really proud of with this camera. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can see some of those. I haven't posted in a while because I haven't gone hiking in a while because it's really cold. But I will post pictures next time I do. Anyways, we are now getting in to game number 4. I remembered what the score was. My memory is terrible. I give all of my energy juice to Roddy so he can remember what game 3 from 2012 NASL was. Meanwhile, I can't remember what happened in this series. But spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Alcyone, on match point, it is a MaxPax. Looking solid in this series against his Terran opponent in the lower left, SpeCial. I also love buying used stuff. A lot of my clothes are from thrift shopping. There's a thrift shop near where I work that has like, they sell like, I don't want to say like higher end clothes, but they're a bit more focused on the look of clothes. So it's not like a Goodwill where they will just literally sell whatever gets given to them. They will buy clothes from people for very cheap, but they'll buy clothes from people. And then it's usually like they'll only buy it if it's something nice, something worth selling. So I like going to that thrift shop. Bought a lot of clothes from there. Does the A6000 support HDR? I have not a clue what that is. No idea. My knowledge of cameras is not that fantastic. Pretty much everything I know I've learned from listening to Sal rant about cameras. This is fun. I love SpeCial. I mean, you can't go wrong. With a little proxy factory, lift it and land it in the base. And MaxPax, he has no idea. He has no idea. He's just going for a Stargate, just kind of chilling. Everything looks normal, right? This is all normal back at home for SpeCial. He's just missing a factory. Oh, and an armory. Also proxied. Ooh, he might want to hold that Widowmine back. You know what? He's just going to send it. He's just going to send her. Widowmine goes right in. MaxPax not expecting this, not watching, and ooh, 8 probes going down to the first Widowmine shot. MaxPax, I'm sure, just looked back home and was like, what the hell? Why is there a Widowmine in my base? That is now invisible as this Phoenix comes out. Second Widowmine going to pop. SpeCial going to need to burrow it immediately. And it's going to get lifted. There's only so many lifts out of this Phoenix here. And this Widowmine is going to get another shot off. SpeCial might need to retarget it, but he might not even really care. He's just going to continue building Widowmines and being annoying. The Robo on the way here for MaxPax. Just going to try to minimize the damage. Phoenix is still going to be really nice against this as that third Widowmine gets lifted and goes down. Great start for SpeCial with the 8 kills. And it's going to be probably 10 overall, I think. Unless he retargets this and maybe gets 2 probes, but I think it's likely to just be 10 overall probes for this proxy. Gonna keep building Widowmines, just landing the factory down here. Felt more dangerous for MaxPax. The Phoenix lifting was so crucial there. Phoenix is now heading across the map now that they've dealt with that Widowmine back at home. And MaxPax can start to head towards probably Colossi off the back of this Robo. Can't imagine it wouldn't be. He has an Immortal on the way out. I don't know if he's worried about a follow-up push here. SpeCial is going for a 3 racks follow-up. So I could see him just going for a big bio push. But the Immortal does delay the Colossus, so it's kind of a give and take here for MaxPax. Getting that Immortal out right away, it's obviously a very powerful unit, but delaying the Colossi means that there's definitely not going to be a Colossus out in time for a bio push from SpeCial if he does just go for one. HDR is when a camera takes, for example, 3 photos very quickly with different exposures and creates a single photo from them. Okay. I still don't know, but now I know what HDR is, so thank you. I'm going to go with maybe. A solid maybe on whether or not this camera has that function. Marines get a nice pick there, grabbing one of the Phoenixes. MaxPax's going to try to defend with as many units as he has out. Not going to be able to take that third base. SpeCial seeing no third here. Cancel on the pylon. Might just decide not to push in. It could be a lot safer to just stay back, but he's going to go for the stim. Stims forward and then pulls back a little bit. No force fields going down for MaxPax. Second Immortal does pop down. The Super Shield battery turns on. Oh, beautiful Widowmine connection there, actually. Kills the Observer, too. SpeCial getting some damage done. Still needs to be careful, but he's bringing over a couple of medevacs. And just building Widowmines in the middle of the map. I mean, why not, you know? MaxPax's going to take his third base. I don't know if he realizes there's still an army right here. Okay, he sees it. Phoenix is staying back at home as well, as they have realized that Special is continuing to send units this way. MaxPax just doesn't have much out right now. See, that Colossus is only about halfway done. It takes a long time, and that might be a cancel on the third base here. MaxPax having a tough time taking a fight against this army. He doesn't have anything that deals with Marines particularly well. Once that Colossus comes out, this will be a lot easier, but with no shield battery there, he just can't hold the third. He's forced to cancel it. Special's third is halfway done on the other side of the map. Economically, this is very bad for MaxPax. Now, his Colossus is out. Second one on the way. He's got 7 Phoenixes, which is pretty substantial. Special needs to be very careful. This army is not strong enough to fight the Protoss army right now, and he is going to realize that and pull back immediately. Phoenix is looking to pick off some units on the retreat, but the Marines will mostly get out of there. MaxPax finally pushes Special back. Special has a few Marauders out. Those can help against the Colossi, but the double Immortal here makes that a little complicated as well, as the factory goes down. Special going to need to rebuild that if he wants any more Widow Mines. But this constant pressure from Special might end up backfiring on him a little bit, as MaxPax pushes back across the map. Both players at 111 supply. Dead even game right now. MaxPax gonna try to push up the ramp. Can he do it? Is he gonna? Flame of fire here. All right. Observer gets killed. It looks like MaxPax is gonna send his units home. Get the rest of his tech out. He never got Thermal Lance, and I feel like at this point he's forgotten it. He didn't get it at first on purpose because he wanted to spend more money on units, but he desperately needs it. And if he doesn't realize that, that could be a huge misstep. It's so funny how that's like one thing that I feel like has plagued a lot of Protoss players over the history of StarCraft is forgetting to get Thermal Lance. Oh, this actually sucks for Special, too. He's going to have to rebuild the armory now. Got a Ghost Academy finishing up. His +2 is already on the way, but he's not going to be able to get any follow-up upgrades. I guess he can get +1 armor. But until he gets an armor, he can't get any upgrades other than that +1 armor. Gonna need to rebuild that at some point. MaxPax is going to take the 4th. Scouts this army coming across the map. Special wants to put some pressure on. He is up quite a bit of army supply. Oh man, MaxPax doesn't have Thermal Lance. That's so painful. The lack of Thermal Lance here could be brutal. I mean, that could genuinely win Special the game. He's got 4 Colossi and they all have 6 range. Phoenix is going to keep an eye on this army, see where it's at, see where it's trying to go to. Wants to pick off some units, but that's a lot of Vikings out of Special here. He's got 10 Vikings in the sky right now. And I don't like that MaxPax never mined the rest of this out. That's so many mineral patches blocking his path. Look at the army trying to squeeze through there. They will all get down here. No overcharge available on the shield battery, I think, until the Nexus is done, right? I think he can overcharge until that's finished up here. Vikings just trying to pick off some units. Special going to move back up towards the 3rd. A few Vikings actually getting caught running a little too far forward. Oh, big warping back in Special's base. There are a few Marines here, but that's not going to be enough to deal with this many Zealots. SCV is getting pulled to be a part of this fight, trying to clog up this area. This is going to delay Special's push by quite a bit as he's busy dealing with this. Vikings will come over to try to kill this Prism, and I think they will get it before the next warping comes down. MaxPax continuing to hold back at home, splitting his army a little bit between the 2 bases. The Vikings come in to try to get a kill on a Colossus. They don't quite get it. There is a big stim, though. Some EMPs getting laid down here as Special's trying to take the fight. The Vikings killing a lot of those Phoenixes. MaxPax holding on for now. The 4 Colossi still standing strong, but they have so little range because Thermal Lance was never researched. I don't know if MaxPax has still realized it. It must feel awkward, but I don't know if he realizes why it feels awkward. those Colossi just walking so far forward before they can fight. And that's going to make them so much more vulnerable to the Vikings that are coming out. There's still 10 Vikings. That is still a lot of anti-air damage against these Colossi. Although they are all still alive. Quite a few kills between them, too. Huge drop here out of Special. I thought it was a fake at first. But nope, goes for the pickup. Drops into the base, and Thermal Lance might never happen. The Robo-Bay could be a good target here. Looks like the Marines, no, they're going to go for the double forge instead. And lift up and get on out of there. This group not going to try to push in at the same time, but Special getting some good damage. The double forge getting killed. While those upgrades for researching, MaxPax is down an upgrade already with +3 started up here for Special. He's going to be able to maintain an upgrade lead for a while. Special, that is. Disruptor's coming out now, but there's a fusion core for Special, so we'll be getting into lib range. Fifth base gets canceled. Special's been very aggressive this game, but as the game gets later, MaxPax's army is going to be pretty robust. He might one day realize he doesn't have Thermal Lance, but it is not this day. Building a second Robo. The drops coming back in for Special. This definitely feels like Special's game right now. He is in a commanding position as the Stalkers try to come up. The Super Shield Battery gets targeted down. I think MaxPax will clear this up. At the same time, Special moving in down here. The army getting clogged up because MaxPax never mined out the rest of these mineral patches. And the Vikings doing a great job against those Colossi. MaxPax does push this army back, but he's still not able to take a fifth base. It is 4 base to 4. The worker count very similar. This is not a great economic position for the Protoss to be in. But MaxPax's army is finally a little bit bigger than Special's. His double forge is done again, so he could start up double upgrades. I would love to see him start that up. Special continuing to keep this pressure on. Oh, the Vikings coming in now. MaxPax does have some Stalkers and a couple of Zealots nearby that should be able to clean these Vikings up. That's a lot of dead Vikings that Special just sacrificed there. And at the same time, MaxPax takes a good fight on the bottom side of the map, and just like that, MaxPax is up 30 army supply, and he's got to be feeling a lot more confident now. There's a triple drop hitting this base, and I don't know if MaxPax has quite enough here, realizing suddenly that was not a single medevac, that was 3 of them. Special also moving through the middle of the map. This Disruptor in some danger, but the rest of the army is not too far away, so the bio needs to be very careful as well. MaxPax not able to take that 5th base still. Special's 5th base is in position. It's on location. 7 probes have now gone down. I feel like we're getting close to the point where MaxPax is just going to have to push across the map. I mean, he's on 4 bases, so it's not like an all-in, but he's got to get damage done to Special. Special has kept him back at home so much this game. And I feel like MaxPax, it feels like he needs to go, but he's making 2 more Colossi. For the record, still no Thermal Lance. It's not even on the way. He does have double upgrades coming, so he might not want to push until then, but he's going to push into a planetary. That is not the way. Ooh, Disruptor Nova going out. Special looking at the last second, splitting, but still some great Disruptor connections. He is going to lose a lot of Disruptors for that. I think that's well worth it to clean up a lot of this bio in the middle of the map. Medevacs going down as well, all of them falling to those last few volleys of the Stalkers. And MaxPax takes, again, a commanding army supply lead. And this time he's pushing not into a planetary, but just into a regular old orbital. And this is a problem for Special. The EMPs lay down on this army. Is that going to be enough, though? Beautiful force field, splitting this bio up, not letting it all fight at once. A lot of SCVs getting killed here, and MaxPax taking some great fights. Special, this was his game, all game. But at the end of the day, when you're maxed out, and it's army versus army, MaxPax took a few good fights, and that was enough to start pushing Special back, and now Special is in an awful position, losing a lot of workers. His 5th base forced to lift from 2 Zealots, never turned into a planetary. MaxPax continuing to push as he has killed so much of Special's economy. He just needs to take a decent trade here. There's double Colossus production back at home. MaxPax, I think he's got this one in the bag. And this looks like a 3-1 victory for the Protoss. SpeCial is forced to tap out. GG. MaxPax continues his streak in this mid-season playoffs. Does finally drop a map. I think that's the first map he's dropped in this tournament. But he will make it to the grand finals, which will be a best of 7. And he's going to start up one map ahead by getting there through the upper bracket. GG's.